The Orion Cube, an extraterrestrial device hidden by the U.S., according to claims. Dan Burrish, a doctorate in microbiology, former worker of the secret military forces of the United States, details great puzzling information about extraterrestrials, the Orion Cube, time machines, secret government plans, and human extinction. Dan Burrish, born in California in 1964, studied microbiology and psychology, University of Las Vegas, Nevada. He graduated in 1986 and did a PhD in microbiology in 1989 in the state of New York. A sports fan since childhood, he played basketball, but his true passion was science, and 5 years later, he was given his first microscope, after which he later became the youngest member of the Microbiology Society of Los Angeles. In 1986, he received an unexpected visit at the University of Las Vegas by the so-called secret government of the United States. Two of those men were in military uniform, he said, offered him to work on top secret project where he could put his talent to work at a maximum level. In 1987, he began working in a Nevada state government office related to prison parole. In 1989, he began receiving tissue samples. Burrish examined them at another place and sent the report to the place of origin of the same. In 1989, he worked on a secret project and also the so-called sharp storm, quote-unquote. But in 1994, he was taken to an underground place called Century 4, which is part of Area 51, where he started working on the Aquarius project. And there he learned that the military was in possession of ships and extraterrestrial beings. We're talking about UFOs. In one department there was information about beings called Orions, being from the star system Zeta Reticuli. Also a copy of the agreement made by President Eisenhower, beings called P-50, and the so-called Orions. In a place called the Bay of Galileo, Burrish saw different types of spacecraft. One of them was the ship that Bob Lazar, former NASA worker who made Area 51 known in the 80s. Another of the ships he saw was the one that crashed in Roswell in 1947. These are according to his claims. And according to Burrish, we have a misguided concept of aliens. It clarifies that aliens and extraterrestrials are not the same, but aliens are beings that come from another planet, and the extraterrestrials are humans from the future, and that they travel in time to solve certain problems, but they are from the Earth, as they are actually the evolution of human beings during thousands of years. Obviously, I guess here he's talking about time travel. They're distinguished into 4 groups, he says. They are classified with the letter P, which means present time, and the years that lead us in the future. For example, Roswell's are P24, that is, the present time plus 24,000 years in the future. The others are known as J-Rod P45, J-Rod P52, and J-Rod and P54. He says that these J-Rod suffer from a very painful illness, and he participated in this project to try to find a cure. He claimed to have taken blood samples of a female of these beings, and that for 2 years worked on this project studying the being. He assures that they come to establish a friendly relationship, and that in one of the face-to-face meetings, this one skipped the protocol, pouncing on him. He telepathically transmitted a large amount of information in which he learned that 2/3 of humanity died in a nuclear catastrophe. As part of the people hid underground to survive, and others did it on the surface, 24,000 years later, the most advanced beings on Earth could travel in time, which is why they traveled to Roswell in 1947. Roswell's ship was really a time machine. They did not come from another planet, but from Earth, he claims. According to Colonel Philip Corso, who passed away in 1997, who wrote a book, The Day After Roswell, beings were made to travel in space-time. They had 2 brains, one of them to control the ships, and they did not reproduce. He also affirmed that the ship was the key to technological progress. Other group survivors, quote-unquote, of the extinction evolved on the Moon, Mars, and finally in Orion, where the P-52 come from, or the Orions, which in spite of being terrestrial, also colonize these other places. The the P-45 were the most Machiavellian, thirsty for nuclear catharsis to pass in our future in order to justify their existence. They are responsible for the majority of abductions. They lack emotional empathy, he says. Eisenhower met with these extraterrestrial groups in order to avoid the obvious nuclear catastrophe. In this meeting, diplomatic discussions between citizens were made and an agreement was adopted to abduct human beings in order to study them, he says, providing they did not suffer or remember anything of what happened. The Orions gave President Eisenhower a cube about 8 centimeters wide by another 8 centimeters long, capable of predicting the future. It was passed between rich and powerful to be able to choose well in their lives. Berish worked directly under the orders of Majestic 12. One of his most important statements are those related to the stargates. They are devices made on the Earth, but with extraterrestrial technology, he states. And according to him, the information on how to make them is in the Sumerian tablets. They were used to communicate with other extraplanetary civilizations, and with them you could access a wormhole, he says. Next to this enormous apparatus, there was a platform that allowed to throw the object to the wormhole to travel to other stars, teleporting people or material from one place to another instantly. But Berish says it's not very reliable and that he saw a person die during one of the experiments. This device is also known as looking glass, quote unquote, and was used to see probabilities of future events. As they saw, catastrophes could happen because of these stargates. According to the doctor, there are 50 stargates on Earth. Although all the stargates have apparently been dismantled, we are still in danger of extinction today. So, what do you think about all this, all his claims, and even the Orion Cube? Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. This is by Anshu Vastava on Infinity Explorers. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.